Hi everyone, and welcome to Mom Talks. We are going through our Baby It's Cold Outside series. So happy to have you join us. We hope that everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know I did. I enjoyed a lot of time with my family, did some traveling, definitely slept in a little bit, and just enjoyed some time away. But we are back. We are happy to have you with us, and we are here at a safety stop at St. Louis Children's Hospital, and we're going to be talking today about car seats over the winter. Now, moms, dads, I know you're with me on this one. Every time it gets cold out, I go, okay, really, how much do I need to bundle my kid up to go from the house to the car? I mean, like 2 seconds, right? So, but on the flip side, I don't want my daughter to be too cold. It can get a little chilly here in St. Louis. I don't know if any of you were paying attention earlier this week at the lovely January-like temperatures we had going on. So, especially for those trips, I want to make sure that she's got just enough clothing on and enough warmth on to make that car ride, comfortable for her. But I'm joined right now by Brittany Kaiser, and she is our car seat safety technician here at Safety Stop. And Brittany, when you're talking about dressing your kids in the car seat, it's not just a comfort thing. We got to talk about safety here.
Yes, safety is a big thing we see in the wintertime with coats and car seats. They do not mix. They don't go together at all. We hate whenever the coats and the car seats are together. It becomes a really large safety issue. What you think is happening is whenever the kiddos are in their car seats, you think they're nice and snug, you have them all bundled for that winter weather, you put them in, their straps look nice and snug, it passes like there's no slack here, it looks great. But in reality what's happening is in an accident, all this external puffiness is going to compress. Those straps become loose and those kiddos just come right out of their car seats.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. If you want to come forward a little bit. I mean, this looks pretty good. I mean, they've got the chest clip is right where it needs to be. I can just put
it's nice and snug.
I can't do
it looks
that.
Good.
It looks good. And this is a standard winter coat. It's not even one of those gigantic marshmallow coats.
No, it's just a little puffy. Coat. Yeah. But then when we take it off, and I'll show you, I won't even loosen the straps, so we'll see what it looks like when we just take the kiddo out of the actual coat here. And not get it all unzipped there. Okay. So now the exact same settings we had the kiddo on before, and where it looked nice and snug when we had the coat on, you can already see it's just entirely too loose.
Wow, look at that.
It's huge on him now. And what we're seeing here then is this is exactly what's going to happen when you're in that accident, is all that puffiness compresses, and this is what you're left with for your child to just escape right out of. So that's why we're really big on do not put those kids in those coats and then in those car seats, because it's super dangerous for them to be in there like that.
Yeah, this just wouldn't have any impact at all. I mean, look how easily he moves back and forth. I mean, no one would ever put their child in this type of car seat with it, just being this loose. So I just want to remind you and take a moment to remind you, we are going to be taking questions throughout this segment. So if you saw this and went, oh my goodness, please write us your questions. Let's get some good information out there so you know what you're going to need to do to keep your kids safe. So obviously we have established big winter coats, not the way to go in the car seat.
Yes, puffy snowsuits, winter coats, all those things that are just extra bulky and puffy can really be dangerous, and their harnesses aren't going to place on their bodies the way we want them to.
So let's start talking about some things that we can do that are alternative to putting a large coat on the kid and go in the car seat. So I guess for starters we want to probably say, it's not to say the coat can't go in the car with you.
No,
especially if you're going somewhere and kiddo's going to be playing outside, it just might, put it on the seat next to them and leave it there. And let's talk about some things that we could do to make sure that your kiddo, has enough warmth on them, but that, it's also safe.
Yeah, we want them to be warm, but we also want them to be safe. And you can definitely do that without putting your coats on them in the car seat. Another thing we see is you can put the coat on backwards like a Snuggie after they're already strapped in. That's fine to do. Car seat blankets are a huge one, keeping those blankets in that car.
So I brought car seat blanket. This is Harper's. It's the really cute sheep on it. I love it. So usually what I'll just do is just tuck it under. There you go.
Yep. After you tighten up those straps and everything, you'll just tuck baby in, and baby, toddler, whoever it may be, any age, we don't want their coats in their car seats.
Looks like we have a question.
So can small children wear scarves in their car seat, or do they present more of a hazard?
Yeah, so smaller kids, like if we're talking about like infants or babies who don't have neck control and things like that, under a year basically, we really don't want to see those scars around them and stuff. They can caused up by their face, kind of like the same idea as blankets in the crib. We don't want them because they could get up around their face while they're riding in the car. Because you're focused on the road, you don't have as much time to look back. Older children, if they're okay with scarves, that's okay to use those. I usually typically just refer to a blanket because your blankets can be tucked up around too. Even on those like infants, you can tuck them around just like that so that it's safe and secure, but it's off their face.
So what about, I brought, this obviously isn't going to fit this guy, but this is Harper's hat, or one of her hats from last year. What about a hat?
Totally fine. Hats are totally okay to use if they're like that, if they're not obviously overly bulky where you're seeing them push their heads out of their car seats, and that's not good. But we do like them like that because a lot of the heat escapes from your head. So if you have a hat on, it's going to help keep them warmer overall.
And then I know some coats have hoods,
yes.
So
yeah,
as long as it's not too puffy.
You can use like jackets, and I think you brought some that were the correct size that you could use.
So for starters, I want to talk about this coat because it is one of our puffy coats. But one thing that's really neat about this one is that it has two different layers to it, and it just, I know a lot of adult coats do this too, but I think this is really cool for kiddos. Is it has these two different parts, and they're attached just kind of on the arms and on the back, and then they zip up so that so they stay together, and so you're not always pulling them apart. But then you lose this whole big puffy layer, and then you end up with, this is a lot lighter here.
And those are totally okay to use in a car seat.
So this just basically feels like a spring jacket. Obviously if it's 20 degrees outside, you're not gonna just run around in this, but again, option for the car, you can just put them in this, and then they get outside, just grab that other layer, zip, 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 and then you're good to go. The other, so I know a lot of parents are probably watching this and being like, well, my kiddo has a coat, it's not a puffy coat, but it's a coat.
Right.
So I brought, this is Harper's pea coat. It's not hugely bulky, but it's a coat. So what do you think of this?
So these would be okay because whenever I'm feeling it, it's not overly bulky. It is a nice warm coat, but it doesn't have that puffy layer that's going to condense in an accident to offer where that straps can get loose. So something like this would be okay to use.
Do you have any tips for parents on how do I know if a coat is too puffy or not puffy enough?
One of those things is if you come to Safety Stop, we can help you. It's always good to kind of see the coat in person. What I suggest is like fleece jackets are awesome for car seats. So we tell parents, especially with newborns, just a couple of thin tight layers, 2 to 4 thin tight layers with a fleece jacket over, as long as it's snug fitting. Those are all fine to use.
Okay, and then let's talk about these, and I see these all over the place anymore. You're gonna lose your blanket.
Go right ahead.
Harper's grandma made this for her over Thanksgiving. Is this just not the cutest thing? Now you see these all over the place. The car seat poncho.
Yes.
So why do we like these?
We love those because those can go over your child and kiddo, and then whenever they're in the car seat, you just lift up that poncho, put all their straps on, and then it's not interfering with their straps, but it's still a good way to keep them warm.
So notice on this one, covers the feet, covers the arms, everything. If he wants to put his hands in,
right.
He can.
Everything, he's nice and warm, but then when you look underneath, the straps are nice and snug, and they're where they need to be because this isn't interfering with how he's strapped in.
So I have seen these all over the places. A lot of people make their own. So Exhibit A. Get the dog hair off of it. So I want to talk a little bit, before I forget, we are still taking questions for this episode. So if you're seeing this and you're wondering specifically about your child's coat, your child's blanket, or if you have any different other suggestions or things you do that you want to talk about, is this okay? Is this not okay? This is how I've solved the problem. Please write in, let us know. Let's talk a little bit about doing car seat safety checks because this isn't just a winter thing that you do.
Definitely not. Safety Stop is an all year round thing. So we will do 4 different kinds of services, all things to just kind of keep your child safe. We offer safe sleep consults where we'll talk to parents about how their infant should be sleeping at night, best practices to keep them safe. We do home safety where we'll talk about when your kids start getting in that stage where they're crawling around and getting into things you wish they weren't getting into. We go through with you and talk about ways to kind of deter your kids from things, but also how to protect them. Problem areas you may not have thought about or problem areas you have thought about and you don't know what to do, we can kind of help come up with some solutions. We do bike helmet fittings, so we fit kids for bike helmets, make sure they're in the right helmet for their size, and make sure that they're wearing it the proper way so that it will protect them. And then of course we do car seat checks, so we make sure that car seats are installed properly, that you're using the right one for your child's size, height, and weight. And then we'll also help you if you just have one brand new and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, how do you install this? We'll go through everything with you for installation to fit to everything.
So let's go into a little bit about fit, like just so people know, when we're talking about car seat fit, what do we want to watch for on these straps?
So the things we're looking for is we want them to be nice and snug. So their car seat strap should always be snug. You should never be able to pinch any slack. Another thing you can do is the stack test. So as long as I can get a finger under here, I know it's not too tight on those kiddos, but if you can stack 2 fingers under the straps, then it's way too loose. We see a lot more kids being loose than tight. So when in doubt, I would just snug it up a little bit more. This is really important that this gets in between their armpits. If you start at one armpit, we call it the tickle line. You should run right across the top of the plastic and hit their other armpit. So making sure that those get pushed up where they belong.
Did I see we had a question?
Yes. How do you make an appointment at Safety Stop?
Yes.
Great.
Well, we have 4 locations, which is awesome. We're down here at Children's on Kings Highway. We're out at the Children's Specialty Care Center on Mason 40. We're at Progress West Hospital, and we're also at the Magic House. And we work by appointments, so you just call 314-454-KIDS, and you press 3 when you're prompted, and they'll be happy to set you up with any of the consults that we do. And it's always a free service. So.
And the one thing I like about it is that you can take your own car seat, the car seat that you already have. Maybe you like switch to a different car and you want to make sure everything's okay, or you just purchased the car seat and you aren't really sure how to install it, or if you installed it correctly. So you can bring it in and they'll show you actually how to work with your specific car seat.
Yes, anything with your kiddos and your cars that you have questions on, or just want us to give you that double check of you're doing everything right, it looks great, we're happy to do that.
And I'm sure that we could bring in, your kiddo's coat, or what they're doing for winter, and especially this time of year.
I have a lot of parents bringing in their winter coats and just asking me like, hey, is this too much? Is this too loose? And another thing is we'll go out to their car sometimes and I'm like, let's take a look. Let's see what they look like in their car seat, because sometimes it appears bulkier in their car seat than it does whenever they're out of it.
Sure. I'm going to ask again one more time for questions if we have anyone else that would like to jump into our conversation, talk about car seat safety, talk about winter and our coats. Okay. Well, in that case, I just wanted to bring up that we have a few more weeks of our series, Baby, It's Cold Outside, but then next we're going to be moving to Safe at Home. So some of those topics she was talking about a little earlier about baby proofing and safe sleep, and we're going to be bringing those right back up. We're going to do a whole series on that. I'll be hosting that. That's going to be, I believe, right after the first of the year. So if you liked what we were doing today, if you would like some more information about safety at home, stay tuned in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, we do still have a few weeks of Baby It's Cold Outside. Next week, we're going to be at our After Hours Clinic. So if you don't know what the After Hours Clinic is, I fully suggest you watch because it is a excellent location, an excellent resource for parents, especially when, gosh, it is after hours, it is late at night, and kiddo is just not looking good, and you want to get in as fast as you can, but you're kind of having that war with yourself, too late to go to the doctor, is it time for the ER? After hours is a great opportunity and a great resource that we have for parents in the St. Louis area. So we're going to be talking all things yucky and gross infections. Oh, you know the ones I'm talking about. We're going to be talking croup. We're going to be talking RSV. I think we're going to go into pink eye, maybe hand, foot, and mouth. I know that was running rampant at my daughter's daycare not too long ago, so yuck. So we're going to try to get parents as informed as they can. And if there's one that you're watching right now and you're thinking, hey, maybe they could talk about this because I've got some questions about this, hey, put it in the comments, let us know. Until then, have a great afternoon. We'll see you next week.